Redo You, the podcast that teaches you tools and strategies so you can build the confidence to rediscover and reinvent yourself. With me, Emma Hull, your favorite life coach. Each week, I'll introduce a concept that you can implement right away so you can live your most authentic life. Let's get started. Hello, beautiful. Story time continues as we explore this audio special of Your Goddess Era, a step-by-step guide to reinvention. And today, chapter 8, Meet Your Martha. We all have multifaceted personalities, including that side you really don't like. Yes, even goddesses have a nasty streak. I'm not talking about Jekyll and Hyde here, but you get the idea. Your shadow self is the one who reacts before you can take a breath and respond. She's the one who says mean things to you as well as others. You know who I'm talking about, right? I first learned about this shadow self when one of my co-workers introduced me to her alter ego, Martha. When Martha was in the office, she snipped at colleagues and gave customers unhelpful, blunt answers. Observing my kind, sweet colleague turning into something of a hag was eye-opening because it made me realize that I did it too. When your shadow self, your Martha, runs the show, you end up feeling bad and have to apologize and make amends for her behavior. What if she took a back seat? No more guilt and denial. Imagine how much time and energy you could free up instead of cleaning up Martha's mess. More time to sprinkle stardust as you float through your glorious existence. I can hear you asking, can't I just ignore her? And the answer is no. Denial is never the answer. In this book, you are learning to sweep every corner under the rugs and behind the couch. When you bring the darkness out into the light and examine it, you take away its power. I really admired how my colleague openly acknowledged Martha and worked to control her. Getting to know your Martha is key to managing her behavior. Know your enemy. The better you know her, the quicker you can head her off at the pass. I invite you to get to know your shadow self, all the parts of her, especially the ugliest parts. My strategy for working through this is a little creative writing exercise. I invite you to write a character description for your shadow self. Set aside about an hour-long window for yourself to work through this. Get cozy in whatever location best suits your mood and the moment, and then allow your creative juices to flow. Get really detailed. Imagine you're writing a description for an actor to play the role of your shadow self in a movie, and use these prompts to help you bring her to life. Describe her physical appearance, voice expressions, and mannerisms. So starting with her appearance starting with her personality traits, list her key traits such as impatience, sarcasm, defensiveness. What are her most common phrases or reactions? Trigger situations. Where and when does she show up, and what are her pet peeves? Maybe it's during tedious work meetings, large family gatherings, or when the person ahead at the supermarket checkout is taking their sweet time. Her diffusing tactics. What helps calm her down and talk her off the ledge? What sets her off? Any particular landmines to avoid? Her backstory. What contributed to her being like this, and why do you think she behaves the way she does? Is she acting out of fear, perhaps trying to protect you? Her strengths and weaknesses. What strengths of hers can you acknowledge? Maybe she's fiercely protective or unafraid to speak up. And how can you use these strengths positively? Now that you've brought her to life, what name fits your Martha? Now that you know your Martha, pay attention to when she makes an appearance. The better you get to know her, the more control you have over her. and the less control she has over you. Use your journal to track how often she appears and in what situations. Ask yourself how your goddess self would have handled it and how a different approach could impact the outcome next time. Getting to know your shadow self is a brave act of self-awareness. Instead of denying her, you're choosing to befriend and understand her so you can meet her with compassion. This is an important piece of groundwork for dealing with others, which we'll move on to in part 3 of this book. Wasn't that fun? As always, the journal prompts to help you go even deeper with this exercise are in the back of the book. So if you haven't already grabbed your copy of Your Goddess Era, you can do so on Amazon. Or if you're in the Sun Peaks area, reach out. You can get it from me personally or at Alpine Fitness, Ohana Deli, and Bluebird Market. See you next time. Chapter 9, Your Best Date Ever.
Thank you for tuning in to this episode of the Redo You podcast. Remember to subscribe, rate, and review, and tell a friend, because together we rise even higher. See you next Friday.